Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It's myself, George, joined once more by Dave and Phil for a very special discussion. This is, of course, the spoiler discussion on Obi-Wan Kenobi parts 1 and 2. We have official title/description of what they are. They're not chapters, they're not episodes, they are parts 1 and 2. And we're here to give you a lovely spoiler discussion on everything that has transpired, everything we've seen today. It's been an incredible day. It's, of course, Star Wars Celebration at the moment as well. So people are checking them out, and we'll be politely saying this will be done by the time the Tactical Clearance panel starts. So do not fear, people, if you are joining in live with us. But before I start talking about any of this sort of stuff, how are we both doing tonight?
Yeah, very well. It's been a great day. I was up early to watch. Got the boy dropped for school. Got home, set myself up. Got to watch Kenobi. I've watched it twice today. I've seen both episodes twice because I just wanted to make sure I got through and stuff. Bits I maybe missed on the first ones, but yeah, it's been a glorious day getting back to see Ewan being amazing.
I had to wait. I had to wait all day. I had to wait till 6 o'clock. So I'm only just fresh off of my viewing. I had to wait all day for this, and as soon as it popped up, all I had in my head was, "Hello, old friend." It was just, yep. I'm really excited to get into all this. So,
no, absolutely, it's been one of them days where it's just been amazing seeing so much hype and everything, and there's a lot of shows and films out this week as well, which we'll plug. But if you are watching at home, if you're watching down the line in the future after this has been done, please comment your thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is a spoiler discussion. Bring up anything you want, any theories, anything like that. We're more than happy to discuss them on here. We'll be going through, as I said, the key events from each episode. Not a scene-by-scene breakdown, but we've sort of scheduled in the big talking points, and through those we'll have covered both episodes in their entirety. So please do get involved if you would like to. And if we are just a TV Star Wars Kenobi channel. Yes, we're doing Star Wars month, but we do a lot of other stuff, film reviews, discussions, everything in between. So get us on social medias. It's the best place to find out about new videos. That's Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinema_savvy. Links to public in the description below. As I said, we are here talking Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a polite way of kickstarting this. Dave, you joined me on the preview last week when we spoke about this. So jumping to Phil. Phil, how did you? So where was your hype at basically before today, before 6 o'clock?
Before 6, it was at a high level, but it was also mostly anxiety. This is something that's we've of course been waiting for a long time. We never thought we'd get to this point until that announcement a couple of years ago, and since then, of course, it's been started building and building. Finally, the day it's here, but there's a lot of anticipation of. If you've seen Fanboys, it's that moment of, well, what if it's not good? Like, what if it sucks? There's this moment of just, I've wanted this for so long that I've built it up for so much in my head that what if it doesn't reach it? What if it doesn't meet that expectation? Which, of course, then was immediately doused. But before I got to it, yeah, it was the hype was real, but so was the anxiety in equal parts.
No, that's completely fair as well. I think for this one, me personally, because of the delays, and when we say delays, it's not like release delays. This was more, they took their time. They went through different writers. It changed from a film to a TV series. There were so many behind the scenes things going on, I would say, in terms of patience. And I guess you would say they're seeking for quality rather than just get the show out ASAP, just get it out now. It doesn't matter if we don't like it or whatnot. They took their time. So sort of, I'm giving my sort of preamble. I was very relaxed is one word for it, but in terms of looking forward to the show, like obviously the hype is there unquestionably, but going for stuff like I was more relaxed. I had faith in them, which is a big thing to have with stuff like Star Wars. Obviously, it's such a debated series and films and shows and stuff, so that is always interesting with that. But yeah, before today, I mean, I woke up this morning, and a bit of background is I was off work today. I set an alarm for like 7:45. Just to make sure I'm prepped ready before it comes on at 8, and I woke up at 6:30, and like the kid before Christmas type thing, or like you to wake up, you check your phone, and I had a text off one of my friends, a shout out to Matt, and it was like, the episodes are all online now, and I was like, what? And I literally ran out, like, got dressed, showered, everything, and I was sat down comfortable watching Kenobi at 7:30. I think I messaged everyone saying they're up now, and obviously that was not in sync with the premiere in the night. That was like, as that premiere finished, it went online, but it was announced in the night when everyone in the UK certainly was asleep. So that was mine. But Dave, how were you like heading into today as well?
Yeah, I mean, as we discussed previously, I was really, really excited for this. We've waited, like Phil said, a long time to see this show, and it's been a wonderful day of getting to finally get it and be surprised as well by it, which was one of the big things I didn't think I'd get from the series, that I'd be surprised in the direction they went, but I am, and it's a pleasant surprise as well. So yeah, I was really excited. I couldn't wait to just get down and get started and watch it through today. And I say that's the first show in a while I've literally sat through once and then gone, I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously we've always done Mandalorian together us when we'd cover that and other shows, but the live action stuff for Star Wars to me is I watch it at like bang on the dot at 8. Like, no, I'm not having it spoiled. I'm not going on Twitter when I'm done because it's a terrible habit, but it's pretty important.
I've had to be very careful,
and
today.
rightfully, I literally didn't when I hit play. I put, you know what, like I'm not even going to have my phone on. I think I took a photo, put on Instagram, like of me like in the bed watching it, but nothing else. And it was it was just nice to get a cleansing. But I guess we can say, you know, obviously it's Star Wars Celebration and sort of carrying off it premiering last night. Obviously, we've got Adina covering the event for us. She's been at Disneyland today. She's the one that's recorded the John Williams theme, which you can check out on our channel footage. Thank you, Adina, if she's watching. And she was at the premiere last night, which is just incredible. The whole cast came out at the end, including the young Leia, which we get to talk about a little bit later on, who was, I thought, superb.
Yes.
And apparently it was just an incredible event. And some of the cast there are people that haven't actually been seen in the show yet. So it really did feel like a premiere for them, which is pretty cool to have it at a celebration. And sort of final thing I'll say on Celebration before getting into these episodes is if you haven't seen the clip of Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan Kenobi on the, not the Celebration stage, what's the stage called with Anthony Carboni on? Is it just the Galaxy stage, or like it's the main?
It might be the Galaxy stage, the main floor stage where they have the events, where the cameras are all focused throughout the when they're not on panels. Yeah.
And I was watching it last night. You know, I was in bed. I was like, oh, can I really go to sleep? And then there was a tweet like, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are on stage. I was like, okay, I'm not going to sleep then, am I? And I was watching it, and obviously it just ends if you haven't seen it. They say to Hayden, you know, what can you say to everyone at home waiting to watch this? And he just says, this is where the fun begins. And the roar of the crowd was just like, I mean, you know, we've all been to sports games at big stadiums. Phil, I know you're in the NFL. Me and Dave are football. Like, it was like someone scored a last-minute winner. Like, it was just insane. So do find that clip if you haven't already. But yeah,
the celebration is the reason why I've had to be so careful today, because I wanted to show the girlfriend the Andor trailer, and I had to be so careful to go, literally just put in, because I knew I'd already watched it, so it was in my history. So I can go right to that and go on YouTube and go, right, avoid any spoilers, but I have to show the trailer without seeing anything else. That's the most careful I've been in a long time, because this has meant, to our generation of fans especially, it's meant so much.
Yeah, no, 100% of that. And we've got a comment from the Defiant who I'm bringing up. Grand Quizzer. We will get to that at the end. Stick around. We do have thoughts on that. We have spoke about it, but I would say do check that out and come to us with that one. But if we're really going to talk about the episode now as well, let's really kickstart it. So, I don't want to make this just a random Q&A about everything, but it does begin with order. I mean, do we want to talk about the amazing recap? Did everyone sit through the recap?
Oh yeah,
it did.
How could you not? It was needed.
That was edited so well, and
so
the real test for me was showing it to my dad. Like I always say, you know, I'll watch it once at 8 in the morning, and I'll watch it in the evening when my dad may finish his work. Means I've not had it spoiled like online, and I can answer any questions he'll probably end up having. But even he was really impressed by that, which was quite nice. But we just kickstarted Order 66. I was like, why is there loads of Jedi? And then I very, very quickly realized, okay, that's why. Listen, any Star Wars project they want to put Order 66 in, they are more than welcome to. I'm not going to complain about that. Phil, I'll let you have your piece shortly about armor. But just seeing like modern filmmaking, and I guess one criticism a lot of people had or have had in the years that followed was that we never got to see much from the temple. Just getting like a minute then. No Anakin as well. I thought Anakin would turn up at the end, but I'm glad he didn't. But just getting the clones hunting them, just what a way to kickstart the show. That was honestly one of my favorite scenes from the 2 episodes so far.
It was an incredible that as soon as you knew you were a Coruscant, it was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what we're getting. We've got a new Jedi Master, Mimis Velti is the name of the Jedi. She's not been nowhere before. She's not in comics. She's not in books. She's just a new random Jedi created for this. So they obviously kill her off very quickly without any sort of backstory or anything else required. But I thought it was a really nice scene, and to show them actually trying to get out the temple, and those younglings that have survived, obviously, and ran like Kanan did himself, and to get away. And hopefully I might come back to those younglings, especially maybe one of them later on. We get to a certain character we're going to talk about. But yes, so it was a great start. Seeing Order 66, how can you not enjoy that start to the show?
This is when I can finally have my piece now.
You got long a bit,
long have I waited for this day. I mean, if you've ever watched our previous show, One to the Force, or maybe throughout anything done, it's a bugbear of mine throughout the entirety since episode 2 and episode 3 was not seeing actual suits of clone armor. I always think it's one of the most unfortunate, unjust things that have to do with the Clone Wars. And don't get me wrong, I understood what Lucas was doing, pushing technology with the mocap and everything else. I get that. But there's something tangible about Stormtrooper armor that you get from the original trilogy, that very real threat. Vader is a threat because he is menacing, he is imposing. The Stormtroopers have had that allure for many years, and the clones, I never thought, got the justice they deserve. And to finally see, again, we had that very small tease in Boba Fett of Order 66, and this having more of that, and I wonder if we'll see more of it down the line, because I reckon they probably did filming these at the same time, they must have done. But to have it was literal goosebumps for me. It's something I've always wanted, and it played out perfectly. And actually, I know what you're talking about, Anakin showing up. I thought the blue lightsaber in the background was going to be Anakin approaching. It wasn't obviously some Jedi dying, but I thought we might see just not anything to do with Anakin at all, just a slight, you just see it approaching and then done. It would have been a cool way to, but I'm not complaining about it. And as you say, that came with the younglings running, I wonder then if the Jedi we ended up seeing on Tatooine was from the temple. They kind of tease it a little bit, I guess, but it was, I have been waiting for that for so many, and of course, lovely thing, 20 years since the Attack of the Clones, 20 years since we first saw clones, we finally got, and I get it twice as well, because we get something later on we'll talk about for part 2, but I have been waiting for this, and I was, as you two could probably well imagine, I was just losing my mind at that. I was a very happy camper.
It's kind of like etched in my mind that anytime I actually see like a clone in armor, I'm like, Phil's gonna really like this. Like, it's sort of, I think because it's gone on for so long since I've known you, it's like, they're in armor. Like Phil's gonna say this to us in the group chat, like they're in armor, and it is. And the thing is, like, just having them on set means that they can act with them, and like, I'm not gonna sit here and like, go through the action, but the actual like choreography of that scene with the Jedi deflecting,
it's more real
because it's all in camera, it's all real, and that will age like fine wine because it's a great scene. Another, you get those YouTube videos where it's like every Order 66 thing in sync. It
gets updated every time.
A longer list. Every time there's a project, Lucasfilm, and obviously we get Palpatine's voice, but going off that grouping Jedi, I was the same. I thought, obviously, when we got to Benny Safdie, he plays him on Tatooine, I thought, like, oh, okay, that's him, and there's going to be, like, 5 alive or something. But I think one of them might be Reva. I mean, let's talk some Inquisitors, because I guess we'll go through again. Didn't begin with Obi-Wan. 10 years later, didn't begin with Obi-Wan. We just get straight into it. The Inquisitors have come to Tatooine, to the saloon, to be specific. A lovely saloon. He says, the Grand Inquisitor. I love this. And again, I'm going to use my dad as the guinea pig. Us three know what Inquisitors are. We've seen them in Rebels. We've seen them in Jedi Fallen Order. We're very familiar with the concept and their use in the series. And this is the first one they've been live action. We know this is a tougher selling point than some will think. I think this is a genuinely very hard thing to sell to people. And that opening scene, I think, did it properly. It was as easy as, you know what we do? Yes, you hunt Jedi. You know who we are? Yes, you're Inquisitors. You know this? Yes. I thought, okay, fantastic. I'll take that. That's going to get people up to speed. And it sets up a drama within the own Inquisitors Guard. We get Reva, who's thirsting for hands and killing people. But obviously, we get that first divide of her and the Grand Inquisitor, her already knowing who Kenobi is, which is another big thing for us, I guess we could say. But how do you both feel about that scene in the saloon? Because, as I said, when you're introing characters like this, and I will say that the Grand Inquisitor looked a lot better. He looked phenomenal in episode 2, and I think that's more the environment he's in, more so than being on a bright planet. But I really like the Inquisitors. I think their transition into live action has worked really well.
It has, and I think it's been done really well. I think it was the whole bar scene was very much, this is a bar of, it might as well be called exposition bar, because that's what we were getting. They were kind of catching up on who these characters were and what they were there to do. And that, again, you're right, it's for anybody who has no following outside of this with these characters. So it was really nice that you got this little scene. And obviously you thought when he's talking about Jedi, the first thing you go to, you're in a Kenobi show, you go, oh, they're looking for Kenobi in this bar. You don't really kind of go, there's going to be another Jedi in there. I loved Reva throwing the knife at the barman to actually the Force stopping of that, and the Jedi revealing himself. This young Jedi, Nari was called. He gets strung up later, but he was there for a little bit. And I think it was just a nice play, and you got to see, like you said, that Inquisitor, that they're already not sure of Reva as a part of their group. They seem very untrusting of her. This seemed like she's pushing things further than which seems crazy for Inquisitors who are out there hunting Jedi, that she's pushing too far for them. It's like, oh, all right, then you have like this, like a line that maybe they don't cross. They haven't got this thing where they're going around cutting off people's hands all the time. Whatever she seemed to do really annoyed them nearly every time. But I thought it was really good. I love the look of the Grand Inquisitor. If it is indeed our Grand Inquisitor, all the Jedi Temple Guards, that species, is this where it's going to go from there? Because obviously we're going to get to it later. There's a very non-canonical thing that happens maybe later on down the line that is across the internet people go wild for, because that's what happens. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice introduction to them. I thought it played them really well, and from the start you knew exactly where you were with them.
Yeah, completely agree with that. In terms of the catch-up, agree with both of you there. It's the perfect way to get people up to speed who have not seen Rebels, who haven't read into the comics either, because, again, you have the Inquisitors in that and the Vader run, where they are taught restraint. Vader hates them because he fears they're going to take his job. The Emperor's playing the power against it. So he wants them to be a little bit more restrained because he doesn't want them to get too powerful. And Reva, or Third Sister, is that little bit more unhinged. Now, I like it is the first named Inquisitor. And what we mean by that is we have the Grand Inquisitor, you have Fifth Brother, you have then, of course, in the other Fallen Order and Rebels, you have Ninth Sister, Second Sister, you have Eighth Brother. So you have just names, not numbers, not actual normal names, as it were. So Reva is very interesting to see more from her. And Trilla being, I think it was Ninth Sister, I think it was, in Fallen Order, gives you that perspective, but you then see her story, so you understand where the names come from, where she is, and how she is. That being said, then leading on from that, the saloon scene was really cool to kind of have that introduction, then with the knife throw to then go, okay, here's our plot line, here's our hook, here is for what they're on Tatooine for. Yes, she wants Kenobi, obviously, now we get told this, but that's a nice little introduction as to why the Inquisitors are there, and then from there they just progress, and there you do see her more unhinged. But Rupert Friend in that scene, I think, is phenomenal. I think the Grand Inquisitor's big boots to fill from the show anyway. The look was something that we had talked about at length before we started, and I have to admit, I think they've done a better job than I gave them credit for. And yes, episode 2, I think, lends itself better because of that darker environment. The airbrushing in terms of the lovely eye marks, especially underneath, is really well come across. I think it's just the very first trailer we got was a bit potato quality. They hadn't maybe finished everything entirely, maybe. Now you've seen it, and now I'm more okay with Fifth Brother, because Fifth Brother was the one I wasn't entirely sure on, rather than the Grand Inquisitor. But again, give him a few scenes, I'm like, okay, I'm fine, I'm sold, it's good. So yeah, wonderful introduction, and then kind of gave us that hook of that Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Fifth Brother you mentioned, played by Sun Kang, Han from Fast and Furious. I know he gave away a few months ago he's going to have a lightsaber, but same as you feel, he looks a lot better. And I remember in Rebels had like lines throughout his faces, and you got to see bits of those. And I think again he's another
Yes.
one that's
Yeah.
transitioned into live action. And for the second episode, I didn't grab her name. The sister that was there that wasn't Reva. Was that meant to be Buffy's one, or was that just a new Inquisitor?
That's a unnamed Inquisitor.
That's fine. She'll probably die then.
Yeah,
she'll probably die.
Most
We
likely.
can predict that. But going back to what you said, Dave. I mean, we'll get to the end, but there is a fantastic discussion to be had on the future of the Grand Inquisitor. Who could it be? Is it him? Will dark side of the Force? These are pathway.
I have my theory, and we'll get to that by the end of it.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I mean, I've watched Strange Things today, so I'm used to sort of weird body manipulations at the moment to plug Strange Things. But moving on from that, we talked about some villains, talked about Order 66. So let's get to the man of the hour, cometh Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is going to be a nice chill out segment. We just got to spend time with Obi-Wan, doing nothing, just his normal new day-to-day. He's a butcher. There's got to be some memes in there somewhere about chopping Anakin's legs off and being a butcher or something, but I don't think it wasn't a crate dragon. Like, I'm really curious to know what they were like chipping away at to sell. I don't know why I'm so intrigued. Not that I want like a Star Wars cooking series, but I'm just really intrigued by whatever that thing was and what they were doing to it. Like, it's like a giant tuna. But aside from what food made me hungry watching it, just spending time with him in his new life, it's slow, but that's the way it needs to be. With all sort of jokes saying like we'd watch a show of just Ewan McGregor doing nothing but living. And when you're getting a 6-episode miniseries set 10 years later, you need to know what his life is now. And I'd say we had 10-15 minutes of it, and it was really nice setting him up. He's obviously disconnected from the Force to a point. We get a little bit of some nightmares somewhere, but just spending time with him, seeing Ewan McGregor, it's just so welcoming. Like, seeing him like this is Obi-Wan. This isn't like another show starring McGregor. This is him as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's back, and he's really leaning into the Alec Guinness voice now as well, which was quite funny.
I was going to get to that when speaking about Kenobi, because the voice is it's not extremely different from Ewan to Alec from episode 3 to episode.
It's like the midway
4.
point, isn't it?
It's the midway point, and he has nailed that transition perfect. He does look older, obviously. Ewan McGregor is older now, but the voice has aged well. He has put it in exactly where it needs to be between himself and Alex's character from episode 4, and to get it, he had the right level of gravel to it. I was trying to find the right word to describe it. They had the right level of just gravel, but kind gravel, if that makes sense. It was just, it was pitched perfectly. And it gave me chills thinking about that lovely little moment where you have Obi-Wan and R2 and Luke in the desert where he first meets him. And he takes the hood off and it's like, hello there. And that lovely voice is just pitched perfectly in between it. So it gave me goosebumps.
It's strange to get back to Obi-Wan and watching him, you're right, lead this boring life. He's literally settled into his everyday is going to this job, getting some meat, going into, I don't know, is it Mos Espa where the job is? I don't know if that's where it was. Yeah, it wasn't exactly, it didn't say at any point which area he was in.
But I think it's near Mos Eisley because it's similar.
He travels in by train and then he goes out by the creature and I can never remember its name.
Yeah.
Along those lines, and then travels back out, and then obviously travelled elsewhere to go watch over Luke. You see in this very much a broken man. I mean, Jedi don't have nightmares, but Kenobi's having them, so it tells you more and more how far away he's come from the Jedi he was 10 years ago. He's now as close to just a normal everyday man living in the desert. With just a crazy old man, he's getting closer and closer to that character that we're seeing. I love that he had the interaction with the Jawa. I thought it was excellent. That made me laugh. Where he was, the Jawa was trying to sell him back his own parts that he'd stolen.
I love the line of just, if you're going to take my own stuff and sell it back to me, can you at least clean it? It's like, cleaning costs extra. It's like, yes.
Extra. And obviously, we get to see that little ship that Luke's playing with in A New Hope. And I thought that was a lovely little moment.
I've got that in my garage.
Yeah, just love it. Got in a boot sale somewhere and give it to him. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice catch up with a character, but certainly not the character that we once knew. You can see the transition of time from when we last met him to the guy we're meeting now is not the same person at all.
Yeah.
And let's just say, I think he's trying to talk to Qui-Gon. In 10 years, it looks like he hasn't managed to do that yet, but I don't think he's also, like Luke did, I think he's pushed himself away from the Force, shut himself off pretty much entirely to where he is now.
Yeah, it's really interesting that Force stuff because we got the nightmares, and I'm not going to sit here and nitpick like, oh look, how would he know about Anakin flying the Naboo? I don't care. It was great. But is that this is what my question is? This the first ever time we have had archive footage in Star Wars, i.e., when they've had a flashback, a nightmare, whatever? Like we're seeing clips from the films, not here's a new recorded nightmare, or episode 3 Anakin's nightmares have got the black filter and all that stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And again, if you're trying to bring people back into the fold, it's the lines of dialogue in that opening that was so important. And it was, I think, the one thing they held on to was Obi-Wan saying, "I have failed you, Anakin." That's the one key point they focused on with him. And this is where I kind of love it that, he isn't the Obi-Wan that we get in episode 4 that does see Luke as the new hope and is willing to train him. This is someone that's, as you said, Dave, he shut himself off from the Force. So we get the moment in episode 2, which is very reminiscent of Luke, I would say, as well in Last Jedi, and so many other films like that, where they've not, they've lost it, they're disconnected, and this big moment is going to bring them back into the
broken
fold.
mental role, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so glad they didn't speak to Qui-Gon yet. I think we all know it's going to happen at some point. It could have, everyone could have predicted it a while ago.
That'll be episode 6. That'll be the last one of the last parts of it, guaranteed.
I'm just so glad it was like him asking for it. Like they are making us aware that he wants to speak to Qui-Gon. They're not hiding it, and he's going to magically pop up like Yoda in episode 8. As great as that is, it's like they're building to it, and when you're intentionally building to something, you will reap the reward. And I'm going to absolutely lose myself when that scene does happen. I think a lot of people will, and that is just I'm processing what that might potentially be. But I wouldn't bet on episode 6, Phil. I think it will come at a moment none of us see coming. I don't know when, but I can't see it being the final few moments of episode 6, because then we'd spend the whole of episode 6 expecting it, as well as a core duel. So I bet on episode 4 or 5 at a very quick glance, but I don't know. He might pop coming next week. Who knows? But the whole broken Jedi stuff I really love, and it really sets up well where the series is heading, that he hasn't just clicked his fingers and he's Obi-Wan Kenobi again. Like, even when he meets the Jedi,
should we talk about that scene in the middle of the desert at night? Because that was brutal to watch. As a fan, it was hard to see Obi-Wan be that broken, but B, knowing we've seen the trailer, kind of seen the boots hanging. You kind of anticipate what's coming, but that added guilt that is going to be there.
Dave, what was his name again? The character. I'm so Anari. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep calling him Benny Sadvi because he's part of the Sadvi brothers that directed so many great films. So it's really cool to see him in Star Wars for a minor role. But this is what I loved, and this is where it comes into it. Like, deep down, Obi-Wan wants to help him. Deep down, he does. But he knows that Luke is the mission. He knows this geezer needs to not just die so they think Luke's not there, but he just needs to get rid, get off the system. You're compromising it, and that's what I'm really enjoying. And even jumping back to Rebels, when you got the whole scene of Maul, there was never any intention of Kenobi having to fight Maul that day until Maul clocked that he's protecting Luke. And that was when he went to kill him. And it's just so fascinating as a few have seen Kenobi. And you're right, but it is kind of sad. The guys like, I thought you were a good Jedi. You don't know what I've been through. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, what do you think this guy's been through? Like, but I really like that scene. I think that scene was needed. And again, it covered half of the trailer lines that we actually got, which was a great way to get them out the system pretty quickly too.
And it kind of plays off again when Bale asks for help as well. Like, it's that same level of like, look, I'm not the person I was 10 years ago when you knew me. I'm not that person anymore. Find someone else. He's like, find a bounty hunter, like, to go after Luke. This is like, it's his sister. Like, Bale's like, she's just as important as he is. And Kenobi's taking on such this weight that it's Luke or nothing. And I kind of like that about him, that he's been sitting, he doesn't really even think about Leia at this point. And it's all about getting this boy raised. And I mean, getting that boy raised by, I guess, if we're going to come to him next, would be Owen. And I thought that scene was I thought he was excellent. I thought Oh, his name escapes me.
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton,
was absolutely superb.
You know what I loved? He does the Luke shout really well on the farm. Like when he was shouting Luke, I was like, he has studied that original footage. Like the leaning and pronunciation was so great. But yeah, like that was one of the big trailer moments. And when they released the clip, they just kept cutting off Obi-Wan's reaction, and the scene that played out was great. And I really enjoyed his performance because although I guess you could say it's not really being thrown over, but the 20 years that followed, Joel Edgerton is. I wouldn't say he's a big household name, but he's in a lot of films, and he's one of those actors that you'd probably see on this. Like, you didn't know this person was in Star Wars once, and obviously the background is they shot in Australia, and he is Australian, so he's a lot of local talent. He's an up-and-coming actor, and the one that plays Aunt Beru is a singer in Australia, like Bonnie Clearson or something, and we didn't get much of her into Run to the Sith, maybe towards the end, who knows, but even just getting them back together, and the scene at the market was just... That was tension. Like, we know Kenobi's going to survive the series, but when you're creating tension on the go, and we can see stuff, and we can, the woman's arm's getting chopped off. I know Star Wars hasn't chopped your hands off for a while, but that whole scene, and I just love Unclone. Like, he just didn't give a shit, did he? Like, and it's such a great thing. Like, he's just shaking his head at her, and he's like, like a Jedi vermin, I kill vermin. Like, he didn't have any of it. He was not phased, and that's what one absolute legend. He just doesn't care, and it is great TV.
Yeah, and that line at the end where Obi-Wan's saying "Thank you," and he's like, "I didn't do it for you." It's just brutal cut down, but it's what he needed. Obi-Wan needs that reminder that he did fail in his mission, which is what's driving him with Leia, which we'll get on to in a second.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk.
I was literally just saying, it also kind of gives that everyone else is saying Anakin's dead. Everyone's telling him Anakin's dead as well, like right the way through. Like Owen says it, Bail Organa says he couldn't save Anakin. So at that point, it seems like very much that as a character, people don't know. Obviously, a lot of people don't know he's in the suit. Reva somehow does, but everyone else is like, yeah, you feel Anakin's dead, which was a really nice to kind of push it to you as well. That Obi-Wan didn't know any different.
No, 100%. And speaking of Anakin, I mean, we can talk about the kids. I mean, I know we got a couple of seconds of Luke, but I did not know Leia was going to be in the series. I don't know if anyone... I knew, obviously, we knew Bail Organa would, and we thought maybe like a little cameo, but didn't expect to get Bail Organa in multiple scenes on Alderaan as well. Yeah. Like, the cursed planet. I think, did you say that line? Like, this will all be yours one day. I'm like, we know what's
These
coming.
People will look to you. They'll look to a big green...
They'll be looking up at her when they go.
Yeah.
But how do we feel about young Leia? I mean, not even before the story, the actress they've cast looks like a young Carrie Fisher. And what didn't really strike me to the end, she has the blend of not just Carrie, but Natalie Portman's Padme. The combo of both is so important, and I really enjoyed her in it. Like, I absolutely love her, and I remember she was in Rebels in one of the early episodes, and there was that sort of smarky humor, but to get her in this was just sensational. And we can look at her performance in that is Leia. That's what Leia would say, and we're going to see her grow into the character that obviously we know and love.
There's a line in the second episode. Sorry,
Don't go.
So there's a line in the second episode, which we will get to the second episode in a bit, where she's talking to Obi-Wan about what he is and who he is. That being that snarky attitude, the delivery is Carrie. The delivery is so that episode 4/Rebels era Carrie that it's just as soon as she said that, not only she had the actions down before that, like a lot of the snarkiness, the smart arseness, the actual intelligence, but that little bit there was just perfectly delivered.
Yeah, I think it was just lovely that we had no idea that it was coming. Like, I had no idea. I'd never even crossed my mind that we were not just going to follow Kenobi, we were going to get an actual Leia-centric story. And I'm wondering if when they did these rewrites and Leia hadn't had that moment of the sun in episode 9 that she was meant to have, they're going, you know what, we could kind of put her into this and give her this lovely role. And I think the kid playing it, I don't know her name yet, I'll learn it in time, but she played it beautifully. I thought for this young kid, she's supposed to be 10, and she just delivers the lines so well. I enjoyed everything she did. I thought she was a really perfect young Leia.
Yeah, and I think what comes with that is the fact they hid it, not in the trailers, not in anything. You'd expect maybe a scene of Luke, but to keep that so quiet. And again, I guess one of the massive perks of the volume versus shooting on location sometimes is that you don't get leaks. And this is something that they did so well, not to like Baby Yoda, like Luke in not just Mandalorian now, but of course Boba Fett. They are very good at hiding secrets. And maybe there's more secrets that will crop up in the next few weeks that aren't
apart
just...
from Tamara Morrison. He's the one person.
But that's another one.
one.
I did see not a leaked photo of him in Kenobi, but about 3-4 months ago, I saw a leaked photo of. She's not been in it yet. Vera Farmiga. I can't pronounce her name. She was in Game of Thrones, loads of stuff. She's in the show. She's been seen yet. There was a photo of her on set, but like when it's like them going to a set, and there was one of Tamara Morrison completely in black clothes with like a towel over his head, hiding him. And I was like, okay, like maybe that's Book of Boba Fett reshoots or something, because it was around the same time. And no, it was this lovely cameo, which we'll get to in a bit. But just the layer stuff. I mean, Dave, you mentioned we're getting story centric. The logic of her being kidnapped, and this is, I guess, a big conversation point. And how I guess anyone that most people I spoke to, I think there's only one person or two people I've seen on Twitter that said they didn't like it. Everyone else has been like overwhelmingly positive. A lot of them said that it was the struggle of bringing young Leia in, which I understand. I've not read the threads and reports and stuff on that, but the way I view this isn't fan service at all. This is and this is how I view this, maybe not YouTube, but the logic will probably apply. There has to be something so important and so intrinsic to not the story, but the story of Luke and Kenobi, that he has to leave the planet. Why does he have to leave the planet? It has to be for something that isn't a bog standard. Again, if we said this, or get a bounty to do it. He's a broken man, and I absolutely love the inclusion of Leia, Bail Organa, the wife, the weird cousin, who reminds me of the kid from Game of Thrones. I think as far as the stories can go, is a great way to connect it all together, and again to make right that story that Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't leave Luke. Okay, he has. But this is why, and it's because of Leia. How do you both feel with that?
I couldn't agree more with that. I think it's really well played. Certainly the first 2 episodes that we've had, I really enjoyed both parts of the story with her. I enjoy they're off on this little granddad adventure because she won't accept that he's young enough to be her father. So old. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice inclusion. I say it was nice to be surprised by something in this, like going in and then suddenly you saw the mountains of Alderaan. You're like, oh my god, that's where we're going. And then maybe you thought at that point, I was like, probably going to see her a little bit, and yeah, great, we'll see some more with Bail. But to get a full Leia adventure, I was over the moon. I really enjoyed everything they did with it.
Bringing Leia in was tricky, and I can understand how any trepidation they had to. But they've cast her perfectly and written it well. I agreed. I actually remember back to when we did our first video for when the trailer came up, and we, of course, the three of us back doing a video. We talked about it then. There had to be a reason good enough for Obi-Wan to leave Tatooine. I think for the story to work in general, he had to do something. There needs to be some sort of journey somehow. He has to go and do something important. And this is about as important as it's going to get for Obi-Wan, is Bail Organa and Leia. And doing something that's, again, protecting the Skywalker family. So it had to be important. And I didn't think of it going into it. It could be Leia, but I am now looking at it. I don't know if it could have been anything else. It's that way of... It's logical. It's just... That's how it felt. And of course, when he gets the bounty hunters snatching up on the rest of it... didn't realize it at first, but that's of course Flea, the bassist from Red Hot Chili Peppers, but did a fantastic job as said bounty hunter. But it was kind of these. It gave again. We had the hook for the Jedi, we had the hook for Obi-Wan for the story that we set up in a mini series like this. 6 episodes of a very important character. You can't have filler. You have to have something important dragging you through from start to finish. And I think so far this has now been set up to do that quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not good with music, so I didn't know who Flea was. A lot of people, I thought it was actually for like a mega quick dance Goldie, who obviously was in The World Is Not Enough. I know Dave, you're doing the Bond film for the moment. Obviously, it wasn't him. But I was just like, okay, like yeah, pirates, and I did laugh at the chase. Really funny thing of the new
The chase is
Leia
awful.
that
Yeah, that's
I don't mind it. Like it's funny because it's like there's obviously like rubbish pirates getting outrun by 9-year-old. I didn't mind it. And it's a bit cheesy, but she runs really funny like Raheem Sterling in football. Like the arms do the sort of Jack Sparrow swivel thing. I really enjoyed that. But obviously we get a lot more running in episode 2. Tom Cruise will turn up next week and just sprint fully, so he can teach him how to run. But yeah, like going off the whole kidnapping stuff, I mean that it does set sort of ending off episode 1, that sets everything in motion. Bail Organa rocks up to his house. Don't know why I thought it'd be Ventress for some reason. When that weird like cloak's there and he's all hidden, I was like, this is a bit weird. Like I hope this isn't an Inquisitor. And obviously it wasn't. It was Bail Organa, who's a delight. It's a Jimmy Smith.
The little security droid that pops up though.
Yeah, it just tells them someone's in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop up. Yep, you're here. God.
Same Ben Kenobi saying he never owned a droid. He's got one buried in his front garden. Man.
That's why he doesn't own a droid. He just has buried one. It's like, no, I do not like droids. They are now gone.
Oh, but I put it as a thumbnail. Going to collect the lightsabers. I don't know why I thought it was a bigger deal than what it is, but like I loved that. Seeing that Anakin save, like we know he's got Anakin save, but the fact he'd buried his own as well
together
just reinforces that breakaway from it. He wouldn't even have his own lightsaber, and I love that scene. I guess it kind of not like poetry it rhymes, but obviously where episode 9 ends, that lightsaber just get buried again in the same desert.
I did say out loud when I saw it, I was like, is it going to be 1 or 2 in terms of sabers? You know what he's going for. You know what the box is going to be, and manly tears.
I was stupid when he first started digging. I thought he was going to dig out a little Jedi shuttle. I was like, of course he's not digging out a Jedi shuttle. Dave, shut up. He got to the box. A tiny spade. It would take him hours. Honestly, that was my first thought. A Jedi shuttle? No. Be quiet, Dave. But yeah, when he pulled out that box and opened it, the 2 lightsabers were together, and it is that symbolism of that he literally buried his past. He literally buried his past. Put those 2 lightsabers together.
Got rid of them, isn't it?
He said bury them in the desert.
Take it, bury it in the middle of the desert, and just bury it. So you kind of do like where you got this, like, oh, I know exactly what he's going for, and it's the same little kind of box we see in episode 4. It just opens up, and it's just
same box.
It's perfect.
Coming soon to Disneyland for probably £450 for 2 hilts combined. Get the duo box. I'd buy it still. I want both. I know they've without getting into it, they've announced, haven't they, the Black Series Elite Kenobi lightsaber, and I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, close the web browser for today. Thank you very much. I'm not going to get drawn into that."
I still regret to this day the $29.99 Sith Sidious lightsaber that you 2 managed to get. I was like, they won't leave it out. You won't get it. You won't get it. Oh, you bastards! Actually, got
a lot got cancelled.
They did.
I will say that.
But a few slipped the net.
Probably the first ones. That's why we were on it. But no, that sort of rounds out episode 1. Obviously, to really discuss about him going to the airport. But let's just go straight into episode 2. Phil, straight to you. What's the name of the planet? I've already forgotten it. It's a new planet for me.
DU.
DU.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's close to Dio, isn't it? One was droid, one's a planet. That's actually going to make it easier. I mean, easy to kickstart. We'll just go with it. He's on the search for Leia. There's nothing wrong with that. The first few minutes are just. I love the fact that he's just like walking around casually, staring. Like, are you trying to make it obvious that you're a Jedi? Like, I know it's only been 10 years, but it was so obvious he's a Jedi. And I love that sort of joke with Star Wars. Is it episode 4? They will joke saying like he's wearing robes still and all that sort of stuff. But I really liked the fact that there's no sat nav. There's no transitions getting this planet. And it's like, yeah, okay, he's got to do it by himself. That's fine. But what do you both think of, like, I guess because of the planet design, it's almost like a Tokyo vibe to it all. Not Coruscant, but like somewhere new.
I thought it was an excellent aesthetic to the whole place. I really liked that we've gone to a new planet that we hadn't visited before. Was one of the nice things that we haven't just gone to, let's say, a Coruscant underworld, or we've gone to a Hoth or somewhere that we already are fully aware of in the Star Wars universe. It's nice to open up a new planet and to get a brand new aesthetic of how that looks. You're right, the Tokyo thing is very much there in the symbols, the neon that's around there. It plays out really nicely for that kind of there's so many bounty hunters apparently around that place, because as soon as it gets the order to look for Obi-Wan, practically everybody and their dogs' wrists light up.
John
Then
Wick.
then go and find Obi-Wan. It's like, no, there's only about 4 people who weren't bounty hunters on the whole planet.
Did you?
But I thought it
The
was
Velociraptor. Sorry, before I forget. Please say I'm not the only one. There's a Velociraptor as a bounty hunter.
in my notes. It says
dinosaur.
Where is it? Dinosaur bounty hunter is in my note. Dinosaur bounty hunter. Yeah.
Like I was just there. Like, is this the Jurassic Park crossover we've all been waiting for? Like, I was like, that is a Velociraptor's head on a human body, and it even made dinosaur sounds. It's like the greatest, most insane thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but this is the beauty of Star Wars, isn't it? You find something random and irrelevant in the background, and then you just become a hero. And mine is now the Velociraptor bounty hunter.
But no, I just thought the whole planet was great. It was nice to get somewhere new. As I said, I thought it worked really well for Star Wars.
Yeah, nothing really to add to that. Is that kind of Tokyo, Hong Kong rundown side of it vibe for me. And yeah, nothing really to add, because you both said it. It's that lovely new... We've had the familiar with Tatooine, the familiar yet unexplored Alderaan, and then we've had the completely unexplored Dayu. So we've had the 3 kind of styles for planets. And yeah, I thought it was a really cool aesthetic. It's like, it's not Corellia, obviously. It's not the full industrial, but it's kind of a halfway house. You know, it's kind of, yeah, it's something different, but yet still Star Wars. So yeah, loved it.
Yeah, and I guess what we could say with this, you know, the key essence to this. I mean, this episode's not got as much, if I'm being honest, to go through and wind through, but the whole going into the. I mean, we'll actually talk about the bit preluding that. There is another Jedi there, which I absolutely loved. The little kid playing the hustle, and we have the legend. I'm going to pronounce this correctly one day. Kamal Nanjiani playing the con man, Haja Estri, who I absolutely loved. I think he's a very... I don't want to say he's an underrated actor. He's one of those supporting actors now that's cropped up in so many great things. He's just like really enjoyable as a character actor on screen. And the moment he clocks up, we know he's not a Jedi. I was like, hold on. Like, it's a great con man, but I love the fact it's magnets. It's not just people in the studio like pulling strings, but the fact that actually, yeah, he's a con man, but he isn't actually conning them. Like, he's actually helping people. And I thought for someone to be in 5-10 minutes of screen time, I had a lot of fun with him. I really enjoyed him.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there'll be a comic one shot on him at some point in the next 3 years.
And it seemed like he was getting force sensitive children out, is what I kind of said. He says that they'll still come looking for him. So it does kind of play that there are some force sensitive kids out there, and they are being hunted as well, maybe in the background of all of this. So I thought it was a really nice touch that kind of just hinted at something bigger going on behind the scenes of the Empire still.
Well, it links to Rebels. We had it with the Inquisitors, and they were hunting the baby Ithorian.
Yeah.
So they're taking them off to be turned, of course. So it kind of links it all there. You know, that's what the Inquisitors are there for. It's their entire reason for being. Of course, you have actually when you have Reva talking to the Grand Inquisitor, like, well, we should be hunting bigger prey. He's like, well, scraps, and the Inquisitor's like, scraps all we got left. We're doing our job well enough that there isn't much left to do.
Yeah, and kind of with those moments as well, it just adds more. And this is the whole TV versus film debacle. A character like him wouldn't make it in a film. You wouldn't get him. You'd probably be able to have lost that and lost a few other things. You'd probably gone straight from Tatooine to whatever planet Vader's going to be on or something. But the whole John Wick stuff, the running, and I think what's great, even when he saves Leia and he learns about the location, it goes full Breaking Bad, breaking into the drug compound and everything. A bit of spice. The weird woman when she's like, I was someone's daughter once, and I was like, are we going to get like a Death Sticks line? No? Okay, that's fine.
No, but I did love that little interaction of actually getting the first taste is free, which of course, again, there's that kind of Breaking Bad reference there. And it had a nice little payoff as well. It wasn't just some little incident. There was a lovely payoff with, of course, he did smashing spice to the bounty hunters. So it was that nice little, it was a setup and payoff in the same episode that was, if you didn't think about it, you didn't really notice it. But if you saw it, you're going, oh, yeah, it's kind of nice little, plot and hook. It's just done very nice.
Yeah, and one of the big things this episode, again, the 2 episodes I didn't see coming, was the whole Reva subplot with the Grand Inquisitor. That we really have it, that she has set the trap. She is going for Kenobi. We don't know why. I'm sure we will find out why. Something must have happened for her to be as intrinsically desperate to catch him, to prove herself, or just to have caught him for other reasons unknown. We'll find out at some point. But I just loved their rivalry from the get-go. Like Grand Inquisitor, you know, when he turns up and he does it that I can, I will be the one that delivers him. Like it's fantastic. But so what you said for like the costume design on the other planet looked phenomenal. You could really see the yellow eyes, and I know the head is the big conversation point online. I think some of it all depends how the shot's framed for me, but there's some shots that it's absolutely fine, some where it might not, but overall, the design just looks superb on the new planet, and it'll probably look like that on everywhere that's not Tatooine. The only thing I'd say is maybe they could have used a bit of that footage. Maybe it wasn't ready on the trailer. Obviously, the big conversation is She-Hulk at the moment, where Disney have already had to re-release the trailer with, I'd say, the more up-to-date CGI renders. Doesn't make much difference if I'm being blunt as to how bad it looks. But just... yeah, Grand Inquisitor, Reva subplot. Where do we stand with her plan? You know, do the John Wick, put the bounties on him, and you're essentially flushing him out for her to find. I just think she's fantastic. I know we've not spoken about Mose Ingram too much, but straight away, you know, when she's on the marketing press tour with Hayden Ewan didn't need her there. They could have done the entire press tour themselves, but every time she pops up, and I didn't mean that to sound horrible, it really did, but I was like, okay, like we're really gonna get stuff about Reva, about Mose Ingram. Like she is on this press tour from the start to the end. She's important to this series. And after 2 episodes, I'm just sat saying, like, yeah, like straight after Kenobi, like MVP so far. I am really intrigued by her storyline, and she just feels different to other Inquisitors we've had.
There's definitely something about her, and for me, I do think she's one of those Padawans we saw at the very start of the show. I think there's one in focus right in the middle of the pack, and I do believe, my own opinion right now, I could be proved wrong with 2 episodes into a 6-episode series. I do believe Reva was there at the fall of the Jedi and Order 66, and I think that's going to have something to why she's so into finding Kenobi and getting Kenobi and delivering him. How she knows Anakin is Vader is something that is going to be obviously explained to us down the line. We'll find out all of that backstory, I'm guessing, in the next few episodes. But I found it really intriguing. Because she's so different. And the Grand Inquisitor as well, when he says she's the least of them as well, you could see in like how she looked at him when he said it, just like, oh, like a real kick. But you saw her doing parkour everywhere around the streets, getting to Obi-Wan on the rooftops. I just thought she's obviously very skilled. She did the whole Kylo Ren mind thing to get out where he was going, and that was like, oh, okay, that's a real nasty move to get all of that. And I love that the Grand Inquisitor totally connected her with Tarkin. Like, no, I'm taking this one. Thank you very much. In my mobile. And then I just think, it was the relationship with that. But I think she's so far, obviously, outside of us getting to see Hayden appear a little bit more in the next few episodes, she's really been up there for the main characters that we're meeting. And it's nice to have a new character with intrigue and a story that we don't know. I mean, she killed the Grand Inquisitor. She killed the Grand Inquisitor with bunny ears because either that's not him or he's not dead. Very much is how you should look at this. I've seen people. I can't go on Twitter because the discourse started literally as soon as Kenobi stopped showing, and it's like, oh, I can't be in it. But it's just and you were 2 episodes in. Enjoy the rest of the story they're going to give you. It's going to tell you why. I was looking on the credits, and Pablo Hidalgo is down.
Yes, lore advisor.
Lore advisor.
The lore.
Star Wars lore advisor. So they're not going to just go, oh, the Grand Inquisitor. No, it doesn't matter. They know where they're going with this, and over it online, it's like, oh, they've killed the Grand Inquisitor. They can't be doing that. Give it time. We've got 4 more episodes to get through before we find out the full journey of this story. It's I loved it. I thought Reva's been excellent.
Yeah, so for me, Third Sister's been fantastic so far. We glossed over her brutality in the first episode, from chopping off the woman's hand and from having a lightsaber embedded in someone's shoulder where the Grand Inquisitor had to stop her from hacking it off. Like we kind of glossed over the actual brutality of her character so far because she is compares the cool, calm, collected nature of the Grand Inquisitor. She's an unhinged lunatic, and the dark side of the Force kind of has that way of just basically messing with you entirely and getting what basically its way. And the more you delve into, the more she has this personal vendetta, and the way which she goes, okay, yeah, I've brought him here, I've flushed him out. Okay, fine. If you are not going to let me have my way, if you are going to take my prize, then screw the both of you. I'm going to put the bounty out because you say I'm the least of you. Fine, I'm getting this bounty. I'm bringing him to Vader, and it was just done so well. And yeah, okay, so for me, I reacted badly when I saw him be killed. I was like, nope, they have screwed this. How can they? No. What Rebels? I am that fan who went, no, this isn't right. And then my mind went to Fennec Shand and to Maul. And I go, okay, Maul survived through hate. Fennec was then brought back, had
More
augmentation to Sever. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, hang on a second. This is only the second episode. Hidalgo knew about the law. I was like, okay, they won't let this go. And Filoni, who created the Grand Inquisitor, will not have let this happen for no reason. He won't let Deborah Chow have killed him off without something happening. So I reckon he will come back, survive through hate. Fifth brother will be there. He'll help. Something will come along to bring him back. I'm now sure of it, but in that moment, that's again, that kind of reaction was so visceral because you go, hang on a second. Yeah. I'm attached to this character going forward, but also third sister or Reva going like, hang on a second, she is just nuts. And what I really actually wanted though from that moment was then to have her have yellow eyes and to have full kind of gone into the dark side there. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where her character goes from there. Of course, then we get to the ending, which we'll get to in a little bit. But her then hunting Obi-Wan, chasing Obi-Wan, and you have that interaction between her and Obi-Wan. We have that interaction between Obi-Wan and Leia. And of course, as she's doing the parkour going everywhere. Leia jumps. Now we get away from the forlorn from for all the parkour. We get away from all of that. Get away from the office to get Leia, who's all right. If you're a Jedi, flick me. Prove it. Prove to me you are who you say you are. Like the sassy Leia is just on point. And then you get to that moment where she jumps because she's scared. Of course, she's a 10-year-old girl who has been, as she said, I have been kidnapped, I have been shot at, I have been chased. And all of this is in one bloody day, basically. Now, prove to me you are who you say you are. That line there that's the line I was referencing earlier. That's the episode 2 line I was talking about, which is I have had all this happen to me in one day. Prove to me that you are who you say you are, because I don't believe you, because I am better than you. It's that sassy / just slightly narcissistic layer of just, I'm Princess Leia. Come on, bring it on. But when he then reaches out and catches her with the Force, that reconnection, they made a big deal of it to show that he wasn't using his lightsaber. He wasn't being the Jedi he wanted to be. It's that same came in episode 1 of Rebels, the pilot, where he doesn't reveal himself until the 2110 pickup at the end. And it's that moment where he reaches out and you see that connection. It's just the willingness. Again, when Luke reconnects in episode 8, it's that deep breath. Okay, if I'm doing this for the right reason. Saves her. She goes, okay, you really are a Jedi. I was hoping, though, instead of him running down that, I was hoping for him to just jump down and do the whole General Grievous hello there moment. It's like, now do you believe me? I am who I say I am, but we can wait for a later episode for that. But it was that moment where Leia is Leia, then she becomes a 10-year-old girl, and Obi-Wan goes from Ben to Obi-Wan. And it's a wonderful kind of turning around the roles from someone who thinks she's in charge to Obi-Wan revealing himself. And then you have the chase throughout the district. And of course, then you have Harger who comes along and goes, look, okay, so what if I con people out of a few bits of money? I like money. Who doesn't? But I do it for the right reasons. I got them to safety. I'm going to get you to safety. And then we get to, of course, the end fight.
Yeah, I mean, backpedaling on some of that, the Leia stuff in this episode was... I really enjoyed the relationship because she's right. I mean, she's the thing we know of Leia. She's smart, and it's a very dumb thing for me to say. But again, you need to tell your audience that this is someone that's smart, intelligent, going to be a senator, going to be the Leia that we know, and to not trust Kenobi to the point where she runs off because she sees the bounty on him, rightfully thinking, "Is this the person that has put the bounty? Has he kidnapped me? And is this why there's a bounty on him? And it's a really fascinating relationship the two of them have. Because when you think again to A New Hope, when she's calling for Kenobi, it's talking about her father more than herself. And I'm really curious to see what the two of them do get up to, because I quite like their bond. And probably actually the bit that got me in sort of tears this morning, like it just, the tears just goes down your cheek. You're not like crying or anything. It's just like it goes down. Is when he stops and he does the old Kenobi, when you put the hand in the robes thing, and it's when he just, you remind me of someone. And I was like, no, like he's gonna name up Padme, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's like, she was a leader, and I was like, oh my word, I just started going at that point.
Okay, so talking about that, one thing I have to say is when it comes down to Leia and talk about her parents, Bail Organa, of course I can't remember the name of his wife off my head.
Mrs. Organa.
Yeah, I immediately, if I was watching my girlfriend, tell me I have a bad feeling about this. She's like, why? When episode 6, Luke turns around to Leia and goes, what do you remember of your mother? Because she was kind and beautiful, but she died when I was very young. I have a bad feeling about this.
The scene itself, it was just, you didn't need to. I mean, it made sense you didn't need to say Padme's name, because again, he's got to keep quiet that that's the daughter. But it's the first time we've had the connection to Padme rather than Anakin, and you forget, they are married. And even in the archive footage, we got Natalie Portman. Whether she's at Celebration tonight, well, no, I don't think she is. But if she is, that's going to be mega. But just getting that moment, and she is acting like Natalie Portman. She's that, you go back to Attack of the Clones, because I know she never was much to do in Revenge of the Sith, but it was her bossing Anakin around, telling him what to do, what they're going to do, and it was just great to see that in Leia. And the smile on Kenobi, and then you get the sort of when Leia apologizes for the loss. He said she died a long time ago. Just hit right in the feels. And one of the things I have wondered with the series is that are we going to get some Padme stuff? And I guess because of that question was answered in episode 2, but they've addressed her early. Are we going to get more stuff with Anakin down the line? I think we could. I don't think when they meet it's going to be as simple as let's fight and get it on. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff. I think we're going to get more Kenobi and Vader stuff than I've anticipated before a duel. I don't want an hour's fight. We're going to cry if there's an hour's fight. I'll take it. I'll be exhausted by then. But there's got to be a conversation between them, hasn't there? Because
there has to be.
In that same scene, I mean, just talking about the Inquisitor moment, I'm pretty sure we all think he's going to live. It is very weird. They've run out of Vader suits. So they probably can't use that on him, but he might. I'm curious. And again, this is where I come down to, like, the reason I'm quite chill with it is because I know, Mandalorian's episodic. This is one event. This is a 6-part series that it all follows on from each other sequentially. You can watch it in one sitting. I'll probably do that before episode 6 comes out, actually, probably the night before or something. But it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes with these. And again, the Inquisitor Reva stuff, I'm very excited for. And as she says to Kenobi, Anakin's alive, and she's using his fear to find him, which is fantastic. And you can imagine how furious she is that the Grand Inquisitor interrupts her again. And I love his accent, like posh, complete. I know Rupert Friend's British, but he's like, what did he say? Reva, did he say something like, my patience has run out? Well, he says something like that.
Yeah.
And it's that overly British Star Wars thing's fantastic. And I'm very curious to see where they go. But do we want to talk about? I mean, Dave, do you want to talk about the Padme thing or anything? Or
no, I mean, it was the moment that hit me probably most in that when as soon as he said it, you knew it was about Padme, and it broke me a little bit. But yeah, I think the next bit we're touching on is kind of the minute Obi-Wan heard the words Anakin Skywalker was alive, and he went off into like, I don't even liken it to knowing the bombs go off and like say Private Ryan sort of thing, and they're in that that world of no sound, and Leia's talking, but he's not really listening anymore. And it's then when he whispered that, it just literally Anakin, and then that major jump cut to him opening his eyes inside the back to like it's the first time that Vader has felt this connection. It's the first time he's heard he knows his voice. He knows Obi-Wan is talking about him. He's heard his name for the first time in a long time, and it was absolute chills. It was crazy how much that moment was perfectly. Hayden is going to be great, but my word, Ewan McGregor was so good in this episode. Like, he is a level above a lot of the actors that we'll see in a lot of these series. I just thought he played it so well, and that moment, that whisper of Anakin, was just pitched so beautifully to finish that episode off.
The eyes in it. I mean, Rogue One had that. Do you remember when like the body like hits the glass? Like, it's really weird. And again, it goes down to, and I think we say this last week on the preview, Dave, that in 2016 they wouldn't have used Hayden. It's not Hayden's fault, but it was at the time, and people will deny it. People say that people never said this at the time. You weren't allowed to say like the prequels. And I will also say, for the time 2017 Orlando Celebration 40th anniversary panel, that was the moment in which I think Lucasfilm accepted, okay, the prequels are a thing. That generation is here. We can use them. They love them. And yes, okay, it's a couple of seconds in a back to tank, so it's not going to look great. But he had like neck pieces and chest pieces we could see, and I'm just there like, okay, are we going to see Vader next week potentially? Like, I'm surprised we've had. I mean, we are a third of the way through though. That's the thing. We're a third of the way through the series, but just those closing moments, Kenobi sensing Anakin sensing Obi-Wan. I think, but I don't want to sit here and theorize, but next week surely we're going to get Vader in full costume talking down to the Inquisitors about what's happened. And you know what? I'll say this: I bet Vader's probably going to side with Reva. Because she has flushed out Obi-Wan for him. And I bet she'll probably blame the Grand Inquisitor's attack on Kenobi, more likely. Without getting into that too much. But how do you think with Vader being back for a couple of seconds? It was the best way to end it, right? I know we've only got a 5-day wait, not a week, luckily. But that's a great way to end this series. Or end this episode, sorry.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. The connection was key anyway between Obi-Wan and Vader. You knew something had to happen. And it reminded me of, again, that line for episode 4 of the presidents have not felt since, and then Vader just walking off because he knows it. He senses, he knows exactly what that presence is. He knows who's here. He knows why he's here. He knows, like, right, I'm off to this because I know what's coming. I need to go and take on Obi-Wan because I cannot let Obi-Wan run free. And of course, you get to that moment, which is the last time that I was but the learner, now I'm the master's case of, well, why? We thought it was referencing episode 3. Now we know what's coming in Kenobi, potentially. And yeah, I agree 100% with you in terms of the Orlando Celebration was when we knew. And when Lucasfilm knew the time was right for the prequels to be accepted for what they were. And when we had, of course, Bad Batch and Clone Wars Season 7, of course, we had the kind of prequel love there. We knew this was coming. We knew something was building. And yeah, I agree. 2016 was we met at Star Wars Celebration 2016. For people who don't know the background between Dave, George, and myself, we met at Star Wars Celebration in 2016. We were all in that panel for Rogue One. We had Krennic and Death Troopers rock up, and the whole Donnie Yen letting slip. Not Donnie Yen, sorry.
John Man.
Yeah, John letting slip like Donnie Yen's character die, and the rest of it, it's just so his character dying is a case of just this. We were in that panel together watching it. And you had Vader pop up in that. We knew-ish or suspected-ish what was coming. That moment gave us all chills sat in that auditorium. And when you had that year later, 2017, that moment, yeah, we knew. And now the timing is right. Now it's come back. It's Rogue One, cool to see just a little bit of the back to tank. Now you have Hayden. Now you have the emotional connection. And what makes it cool and better for us as fans is we know the relationship between Hayden and Ewan outside of it. We know everyone remembers, all three of us who've watched the behind the scenes a million times, that wonderful moment where you have Hayden and Ewan sparring with the metal sabers at the end of it, you're slapping each other's back. That moment there showing what they were to each other outside the film as well as in it. They've been through the hate. I remember Top Gear must have been about 15 years ago when you had Ewan sitting there talking about Star Wars because he'd been on there to talk about his round the world bike trip, but he was there and of course they're talking about Star Wars. He went, of course you had Dennis Lawson, his uncle, of course, in 4, 5, and 6 as Wedge. He said, well, but he goes, the ones that Uncle Dennis did, and of course the ones I did is the ones I did. And that hurt then was him. Yeah, that last scene he was talking about being on the camel-ish creature taking Luke, and that was the last bit he did. And that last scene was blue on blue on blue. This now gives him the ending he wants, Hayden the ending he wants, the fans the ending we want without it being fan service. And it's just, yeah.
It's one of them where it's been earned, and I think this press tour's shown it. And I think the reason the hype kicks in more than now with Kenobi for the show is that it's Hayden. And it's such a minor detail, but it's just, you see him on stage, even last night, like he's still probably quite emotional with everything. He spoke in so many interviews about putting the suit back on, everything, and just to get him to see him in more than the suit, like, yeah, okay, didn't look like Hayden Christensen in the tank, but we know it's him. And I think that just adds this level of authenticity. And not to disrespect anyone that's played Vader previously, when you know it is Anakin, and this series is the aftermath of Revenge of the Sith, it's Ewan McGregor. It's so right that it's Hayden in the costume opposite him. And it's just, it's been very heartwarming. And where it might go in the future, going to get them dueling. When we do get the duel, that is going to hit, because we will all know that is Hayden, that is Ewan, and my word, the behind the scenes that comes from that is going to be mega.
Yeah. I was literally going to say I'm almost looking forward to the gallery episode around this series, almost as much as I am the series itself that I'm watching. But it's been a really, really excellent start. I'm really glad we got 2 episodes. The first episode goes really well with that. It flows really well together as one. So I'm hoping the rest of the episodes have that feel as well. But I'm really glad we've got 2 together. Give us a really nice starting off point. And I couldn't be happier with the start of the series. I'm really, really happy it's here. And I loved it.
No, 100%. And I guess that's a great way to sort of end out our thoughts on this. This has been a spoiler discussion. I do want to really quickly say, we won't get into too hard, but Deborah Chow's direction, we know she's doing all 6. Absolutely love her back from Mando. It feels consistent. I'd say it's the right thing to do is to bring that same director back, give her a whole series. It's going to feel like a long film that hasn't got different people jumping in and out. The same for Natalie Holt's soundtrack so far, which I've really enjoyed as well. Especially the Inquisitors had a really cool theme.
I tell you what, the thing with Kenobi is a character that had to be looked after well. And from her, what she did with Mando, I was like, okay, I trust her enough to give her the reins. And that trust has been paid off in these 2 episodes. She has done a fantastic job. Also, the one thing we haven't talked about, I know you guys talked about it last night when unfortunately I couldn't join you, was the Obi-Wan theme by John Williams. The fact he asked to do it as well was kind of cool, but it's a lovely note. And also throughout this, compared to Mando and Boba Fett and things, those little Star Wars notes was there, and it was just, perfectly done.
No, 100%. And I guess with that, that's a polite bit to sort of round out this discussion. This has been the first 2 episodes, so it is safe to say we will be back talking Kenobi on Wednesday, the 1st of June, episode Part 3 is its official name. That's going to be live at 8 p.m. the same time, GMT. Only 5 days to wait. Fantastic. We're still in the celebration hype, so please do that and stick around. There's a lot of celebration coverage happening on the channel. Any details, best thing to do is get us on social medias for them. Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. Links to public in that description below. But as we've spoken about tonight, if you're watching down the line, comment your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Put your thoughts in there. It is spoiler-free. Sorry, it is spoiler discussion, so just put them in there. We'll have a chat. Don't worry about saying too much. And hit the subscribe button. There's a lot more Star Wars stuff on the way. I'm excited to talk about more. I think we all are. And it's just been a wild day or 2. So just to plug the rest of the channel, we've got footage from Celebration yesterday from the event. We've got me and Dave discussing the panel. We've also got a preview of Obi-Wan, which is a bit irrelevant now the 2 episodes are out. There's a lot of Star Wars stuff happening. We had a whole month dedicated to Star Wars in the hype for Kenobi, and the series has delivered. We are very excited. So we're going to round off there. Lovely to see you both, Dave and Phil, coming back on, reuniting the trio for another Star Wars discussion. It's always a pleasure. And with that, to everybody at home, thank you all for commenting, watching along, and be sure to join us on the next one. Take care.